Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I am so excited for my guest today. We actually got to meet virtually a couple of weeks ago at a speaking event, and since then, I just heard a little bit of her story, and I'm like, I need to have her as my guest on this podcast because she has such an amazing story, and I think that she can help all of us out there in this world today. And so I want to highlight her because I'm all about highlighting other people who really are behind the Refine and Shine. And so my guest today is Dejeuné Harris, who is the founder of Your Style is Forever, which is a personal styling consultancy serving high-achieving women in the Washington, D.C. area. With over a decade of experience in the fashion industry, she helps women align their style with their confidence, authority, and next-level identity. She is a domestic violence survivor and advocate who believes personal style is a powerful tool for self-expression and visibility. Thank you, Dejeuné, for being my guest here today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. What I love about what you're doing is you're just helping that woman out there that high achieving woman and styling her. And I just would love to know, has fashion always been a part of your life? Like when you were a little girl, did you always play dress up? Like kind of tell us how you got into this.
So I've always loved fashion. I loved it before. I always knew I wanted to do something in fashion. I didn't know that I wanted to be a stylist because back then, a stylist role, it wasn't really identified as a real job or a real career. But unofficially, people would just ask me my opinion on things. I mean, strangers would walk up to me and say like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" Then I started working in retail, and I worked at Banana Republic. So that was one start, and then I ended up getting an internship, which turned into a personal assistant role for a boutique owner. And then I went to school for fashion merchandising, but I did not finish, and I ended up going into the government. So I took like a long pause, and then I ended up going back to school for it, and I did um my mind was blank. I did fashion styling for models for fashion shows. I did editorial styling. I did fashion blogging. And then eventually I was like, okay, let me just do my own thing. And I started my business.
I think that's amazing. I also love that even though like you've done this and then you took a pause, and I think that that's okay. Like sometimes people think, "Oh, I got to give up on my dreams because I'm taking a pause." But sometimes when I always find that God gives us a pause in life for certain reasons, and then now you got back into it, and so that was really your passion. And I love that you said, "I'm helping all these other people, and then I'm just going to make a business of it." So, how long has your business been a business? How long have you had the business for?
9 years. In November, this will be our 10th year.
Well, congratulations. I think
Thank
that's so
you.
important because a lot of times people give up and don't even make it to 5 years. And here you are almost at 10 years. So, congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And so, walk us through is like, how do you style people? Like, do they just come to you and you just like, are they, once they find you, is it a virtual or do you do in person? How do you do that?
So once people find me, I always like to have a consultation, which is virtual. And this is more like a energy check just to make sure that we are aligned because what I do is so personal and it's intimate. And I want to make sure that we're team players in this. So just to make sure that we have a synergy and we can work together. And then from there, depending on what service it is that they choose, I do have a virtual option, which is less interaction between myself and the client. And then I also have a more white glove, hands on service, my style rehab. So we will have a conversation like this, get a clear concept of where they are on their style journey. And then we would set up a time where I will come into their closet to see what they have, what they're wearing, what they're not wearing, do a full, complete wardrobe audit. And after I identify the gaps from that experience, then I can do the sourcing, which is shopping for all of the clothes. And then after that, we'll have another in person session where they're trying on the clothes and we're integrating it into what they already have, making sure it fits and they love it. And that's it for us working together in person. And then everything after that is sent to them digitally, unless they, are on a retainer or they continue with services. But that's just a general gist of it.
I love that. I love the part where you come into there and look at what they have already because maybe there's ways that you can style it, but they're not really styling things as they should be because they're just not educated enough or they don't know. Like I am not a stylist person. You'd come into my closet and you'd be like, "There's too much black. All you wear is black, and how can you add some color to it?" Or you're basic, or you have too many t-shirts, and things like that. And I think that that's important. Do you also help them when you're saying like what you give them everything digital? Do you help them with the accessories and things like that? And like, what is things that we should be? Well, answer that question first, and then I'll ask the next question.
So yeah, I definitely do help them with everything from accessories, bags, shoes. And again, it always depends on where the person is. Some people have a lot of stuff that, we have to go through. Some people are like they've lost weight or they've had some type of shift and they've already gotten rid of everything. So we are literally building things from scratch. So it really depends. But yeah, I do help them with accessories, like head to toe looks.
Mm, I think that's important. And I think that I love how you said that, like, sometimes it's people coming through to shifting in life and they're changing and they maybe not be the person that they were, how they wore or dressed 5 years ago or even a year ago or 6 months and transformation um, that they've been through and you help them with the styling. As you're saying that, I'm thinking like, I need to probably go through my closet, spring cleaning and go through things that maybe I don't wear anymore or I've had too long and maybe something from 20 years ago or so. That's something definitely.
And yeah, so I actually deal with that a lot where first of all, what we put on our body, the things that we keep in our wardrobe they usually tell some part of our story. So some stories are longer than others. Some people are holding on to a lot of emotional things that they don't realize. So when I'm coming in, we're decoding all of that and like evaluating like, is this where you are right now? Is this reflective of how you want to show up? And sometimes there's some back and forth. Sometimes people are like, you're right. Let's just get rid of it. So that's what I mean. Like it really depends on where they are. But I would never call you basic, even if you don't. Like I would not. Like I'm really big on self talk. So, and I know a lot of people think because I'm a stylist that I'm like walking around with like a score board, and I'm just like, nope, fail. Like and it's not like that. It's really more so just connecting with you to see like who you are and then focusing on the clothes and making sure that they're connected. But typically, there's some sort of gap.
Mhm. So it's kind of like going through therapy, right?
Yeah, I definitely call it, closet therapy, wardrobe therapy, which is kind of how I got the names for my services. Style rehab, style diagnosis, and I used to have a ascension style service. I don't have it anymore, but just those type of things because I think the style is energetic and emotional.
I love how you said it too, is just like when you your style, like we're holding on to things, or maybe it's something that we're really not, and we're just like gotta just get rid of things. And my husband tells me all the time, he's like, you just need to get rid of stuff. Like you need to get rid of stuff. You're not going to wear that again. Why are you holding on to it? And there's maybe some emotional attachment to it, like right, like I remember when I wore this here, but it's like it served me, and it's time to be done.
Yeah, or sometimes another thing, having an expert come in and give you a different perspective of how something can be worn. You know, sometimes you just need new life being breathed into your clothes. So that is something else that I do too, which is why I really like to start in the closet instead of just, oh, let's just buy all these things, let's just go shopping. If we haven't really gotten to the root, then more than likely we're going to come back to the same issue as to why you needed my services in the first place.
Mhm. And when you go do it virtually, are you able to, do you still do the closet part, or is that just a different package because you're not physically able to go through there?
No, it can definitely be done virtually. Thankfully for technology, of course, it is different. They will be doing more of the legwork, whereas if I was there in person, I would be doing it or my assistant. But it all depends, because I can coordinate things to have someone else come and assist. It's just a lot of moving parts that can be added, and sometimes we just need that extra help. But it
Mhm.
is possible to do it virtually too.
Okay, so then, like for me, since I'm in California and you're in Washington D.C., I could always hire you to do a virtual.
Yep, you can. And you can also hire me to come out there too. Because even though I'm based in DC, I work all around the world.
See, that's part it's important. So, I have a lot of listeners in the UK.
Oh, I love that's my goal. I want to move to the UK.
Love that. See, all about the alignment. Maybe that will be something that'll work out soon. One of the things that I also want to talk about is you had when we talked and I read it in your bio. You're a a domestic violence survivor, and you're also an advocate. So can you tell us? You don't have to go into the deep story or any of that stuff, but kind of like how, how you were able to becoming a survivor, and then how you started the advocacy, if you don't mind sharing.
Sure. So I am a mom, a single mom, and I have a 14-year-old now. But at that time when I was going through everything, which the domestic violence it started before, but it got worse during my pregnancy, and it continued throughout my pregnancy and afterwards. So I don't know if I would just say it was God. It was some sort of divine intervention that was like, I don't want my son to be like this. I don't want him to see this as an example of love or what a relationship is, and I have to do something about it. So that mama bear instinct just definitely was a big factor to pushing me out of that situation. And once I got on the other side of it, again another realization like, okay, what can be to me, what can you do for yourself, like how can you get back to who you are? And it was just like, just go after your dreams. And that was also another component of how I started my business. Like, what else can happen? I've already survived all of this. What will happen if I just do what I wanted to do, or just follow my inner child dreams and making them come true? So that was one part of it.
I love you for I love that you shared that, because I think that that's so important, is that you wanted to be wanted your son to have a good example and of what not to do and how life should be, and that's important, and what bravery you have for that too, because your son was very young, and then even just going through the whole pregnancy, and just kind of like you said, like I've survived so much of this, and now I can go and do those childhood dreams, that what has been in your inner child, or the things you've always wanted to do. And I think that's important. I think some people always think that, oh, if I didn't do this as I had this dream, but it didn't work out, I can't do it now. But we are all just one decision away from changing the trajectory of our life. We just have to make the decisions of what we're going to put up with today And that even goes to what are we going to wear today, right? All of the things, like we want to show up as a woman that we need to show up as, or the man that we need to show up for. Like, how do we portray ourselves, and what decisions are we making for our life? And is it what's going to serve us for the future, or do we need to stop these habits, or, change behaviors, or whatever it is?
I agree. It was like, if my son, when he looked at me, what does he want to see? And that is the version of the person that I became. So I wanted him to see someone who did not allow adversity to stop me from doing things, or thinking that you have to be stuck in a situation because you're in that situation and you can't change your life, or seeing someone who will go after their dreams no matter what, and you can make your dreams become reality. So those are also big conduits in me making a change in my life too.
I think that's amazing. And when we talked before we started recording, that I had told you, I shared that I was just done with where I was at, and I just decided to take a job on the other side of the country because I was like, I'm going to go after my dreams, and or do something better for myself than to be in the same cycle of the way I was being treated or working so hard. And it allowed so many other doors to open. And I think that that's what's important, is you got to just figure out, do I want to be in the same thing, or do I want something different? And if you want something different and God has put that on your heart, then it's up to us to make to go after it and do the things that we have been called to do. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, with everything that you're doing, your company and everything, a lot of people are so scared to go after their dreams, and especially, you're a single mom, you go after you start up this company and stuff. And everybody thinks was it easy, and sure, there was trials and tribulations. So can you kind of talk a little bit about that and what kept you going?
It was really like a fire. And an uncomfortable. It started off as an uncomfortability. So things, a situation that you've outgrown or that you're not supposed to be in, you won't find peace in it. You won't find rest. You won't find comfort. So that's what it really just started me feeling uncomfortable. I worked for the government for about 15 years of my life. I actually just stopped completely working for the government and working my business full time January 1st of this year. And things, when you're not supposed to be in a situation, you're going to keep hitting roadblocks or difficulties. And that's not always a sign to give up, but it is an indicator that like something is not working. So it was definitely not easy. I was really like, I have to have a traditional job. And, I had that conditioning that is the only way to be successful. But things just kept happening that ended up pushing me towards my business. And I did not know where to start or how to start. Again, being a stylist was not really identified as being a real role, a real career until more recently. So I just knew that I could not stop. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of error, a lot of pivoting, a lot of investing, a lot of research, a lot of asking questions, raising my hand, going against the things that originally would feel comfortable to me. I had to step outside of my comfort zone in order to grow. So it was not hard. I mean, I'm sorry, it was not easy at all, but it was either you choose what's easy and uncomfortable, or choose what's unfamiliar and gives you a different fulfillment in life. So that's why that's the role I chose.
Mm. I think that's so important, because a lot of times people look at something, they're like, okay, I want to do this, but they don't want to take the necessary steps because it's not easy. But nothing in life is easy. And then do you want to have, I think it's important, do you want to have those regrets later on in life that you didn't make those choices, or that you didn't make those decisions, or that you were too scared? Yes, not everything's going to be easy, and God did not promise us that life was going to be easy. And we're going to have trials and tribulations, but it's up to us, you know, do you want to have no regrets and just go after the things that has been put on your heart? I think that that's important. Um, when I wanted to start the podcast, there were some things that kept getting in the way, and the timing wasn't right, or this and that. And then once an opportunity opened up, I was like, okay, I got it. Now I can't stop making, I can't make an excuse, because now I've got this opportunity, and go ahead and go forward and start doing it. And it hasn't always been easy. There's been times, ups and downs, where I've maybe not been able to release an episode on time, or life has happened, but I still consistently, one comes out every week. And I think that's important, is that you may not have it perfect, but you're still going after it and not giving up on those dreams, or not giving up on the goals that you set out for yourself.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah. So, how do, when people want to work with you, how do they connect with you? Is it they just visit your website or your Instagram? Like, what is the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is Your Style Is Forever. All of my social media handles are also the same, but when you can go on my website and you can fill out an application to work with me, and then I will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours if we're a good fit. And then we would set up a virtual call just for us to connect and meet each other.
Mm. I think that's so important. And I just had to ask you, this is what I was going to ask you earlier, and I totally forgot because I got sidetracked. Um, um, when you, what do you think of as a stylist? What is the first thing that you think, or if there is one thing, what is the most important thing um, for accessories for women? Or do you have a choice, or it depends on the woman? Like, I was just curious.
So I think it's a personal choice. You know, some people believe in accessories, some don't. I do think that accessories will complete your look, like they're a finisher. So a belt, a good bag, earrings, and some people don't have their ears pierced. There are clip-on options. I think those small details will complete a look, but I don't think there is something that is mandatory, if that makes sense. Like, I don't believe in traditional style rules, like you have to do this or have to do that. I think that you should be happy in your clothes. Like, you should feel comfortable. You should actually love getting dressed and love what you wear. So I think that's the most important thing. And if it's accessories, there's a quote Coco Chanel said, like, if you have on, put on a if you have on so many accessories, take one off. I'm like, put more on. Like, wear as many bracelets as you want. Like, overdo it. You don't have to live in these confines of dressing a certain type of way. I hope
Now,
that answered
yeah,
your question.
yeah, it does. I don't have, I don't even have any. Well, I have a necklace on. I wear earrings. And but when I'm out and go to like events and conferences or I'm speaking, I always have a bunch of different bracelets. And somebody's like, "You have so many," and I'm like, "But if you read the little things, they all have a quote or something on it, and that's the reason I wear it. It may be a Bible verse or something like that." And so that's how I do it. But one of the things I was also wondering is I as a woman have a hard time finding a good belt. And so what are your recommend like I find them either they're too short or they're too thick or so what is the best way or what do you recommend for finding a good belt for women?
I really like thrift stores, to be honest, because I think they have the quality, they're more durable, and also to investing in a belt hole puncher. So even if you had to get a men's belt or something that's bigger than your traditional waist size, you can always add a hole to it and make it fit you. And also too, I think just playing around with different type of belt shapes. So skinny belts, wide belts, I think is really a trial and error thing, but I think you need, personally, I think you should have more than one just for whatever it is that you're wearing.
No, that's really good. I didn't even think to go to a thrift store to look at a belt. So I love that. I love the suggestion too is that you can also, have different types and then also look at the men's belts and see and if they don't fit right, you can always do the belt puncher to make more holes. So that's important.
Yeah, it's all about just making your wardrobe work for you and your needs and whatever that looks like.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of these things. And be as we about to wrap up, there's just one more question I wanted to ask you is what is it that women can or not women, my listeners today can do in order to help them refine and shine? Whether a quote, a book, something that you think of.
Do something that feels uncomfortable. I think sometimes people get uncomfortable and unsafe, confused, but like, do something that is out of your norm, pushing your boundaries. I think that's the best thing that you can do. Like, your next opportunity or your next shift in life is really outside of your comfort zone. So I think that would probably be. I know that's been the biggest thing that has propelled my life, doing something uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and my blessing was right on the other side of that.
Mhm. I think that's so important. And a lot of times I like how you say, even if it's scared or you have fear for it, just go out there and do it, because you never know what's like going to happen or who you're going to meet or all of the things like we talked before we started recording, is that we run into people and we are like, whoever we run into to meet, or if there's somebody out there to meet, when we meet them, it's for a reason. And I think that's important. But we wouldn't, if unless we had stepped out of our comfort zone, we probably would not have gotten the opportunity, right?
Definitely. Like, it's no such thing as being too late or being on the wrong path, because life will have a way of putting you back on that path no matter what. So you can't really run from your destiny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And you've experienced that. I mean, you went and stopped the fashion and went to stopped and did a different journey, and then you got back into it. And I think that I love that, because people always will say like, oh, it's too late, I'm too old, or whatever. And, I've met people who've started podcasts in their 60s, or people who started whole new careers in their 60s, or whatever it is. The thing is again, you're just one decision away. And do you want to keep living the life that you are? And if you're uncomfortable, or you feel like you're not being fulfilled, then you have that decision to change the way that your life is today.
We can always pivot no matter what.
Yeah, I love that. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today?
Not really. Just thanks for having me on. I gave all the information of how they can reach me. Oh, if you are listening and you're going to be in the DC area on April the 8th, I'll be having a private event at Argent in Georgetown. All the information is on my website, so if you can make it, I would love to see you there.
Oh, can you share a little bit about this event? I would love to.
Sure. So Argent is it's a store in Georgetown, and it's all about powerful women and stepping outside of the norm. And the event that I'm hosting is called the Working Capsule, and the goal is to shift the idea of what your work attire looks like, and making it more personable, not being so black and white, and just bringing more of your personality into what it is that you wear. And you can do that in a professional setting and having a wardrobe that works for you. You don't have to just, this is what I wear to work, this is what I wear to my friends. You could blend those two things together. So that's what it is. It's going to be an intimate workshop, but it's also it's a more immersive experience versus like bring your notepad, an educational experience. I don't want it stuffy. So yeah, if you're in Georgetown, I'd love to see you there.
Oh, yes, definitely. And then I'll make sure I have the links, like, of course, your links to the website and highlighting for them to check out this event as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.